I'm absolutely looking forward for our interview today in the Industry Expert Interview Series. Our guest for today is a person having over 30 plus years of experience in the shipping industry. She started her career with Western Carriers, moved on to work with Sealand, APL, and finally with CMA CGM as the Regional Customer Care Manager, Zone 4. Welcome, Miss Linda.
Thanks, Shivaranjani, for that elaborate introduction. It's really wonderful that BSLS hosts Industry Experts series. It helps the younger generation to understand how the industry evolved over the years. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to participate and express myself. As we say in shipping, let's get sailing with your questions.
Wow, thank you so much. We are absolutely delighted to have you with us, Linda. So,
Thanks.
now to begin with, I would like to dial back all the way to the time when you started. So, I would like to ask you, how did you join this industry?
Okay, well, when I look back now to where I started, supply chain just happened.
Right.
In the late 80's, job opportunities were very limited. So, whatever was thrust upon us, we took. It was considered that my community had a very good command over English language.
Right.
So, most of us looked for employment as secretaries, telephone operators, front office personnel. So, when we completed our degree, most of us did an additional professional course called shorthand and typing or
Hmm.
secretarial course. I don't know if you heard of shorthand. I don't know. Uh, well, like any other young lady of my time, soon after I completed my degree in English, I did a secretarial course in shorthand, which also included shorthand and typing. But I was not lucky, like all my classmates, to bag jobs in the or uh, banking or manufacturing industry. I found a job in Western Carriers, a transport organization, to this as the MD secretary.
Okay.
In my days, my parents wouldn't hear of their daughters leaving their hometown to find jobs in another city. But since I found the love of my life, who lived in Chennai, I couldn't convince them for me to go and find a job and then marry. But since they did not allow it, I married and moved to Chennai. I joined Chakyard agencies, who were then the agents of Sealand Inc., an American flag carrier, as a secretary to the general manager. I think maybe the accident of finding my first job in Western Carriers, which was a part of the supply chain, influenced my choice of the industry.
Wow, what an interesting story, I must say. So, Linda, as we all know, way back then, logistics as an industry was not much heard of. And more so for women to be working in this industry, even lesser. So, I want you to tell us, what did you like about the industry that you decided to stay back and not look for a change?
Okay. The accident got me very interested in supply chain. My manager in Chakyard was a hard taskmaster. Even though I was his secretary, he expected me to gain knowledge of the industry. He felt that everyone in the organization, whether it be his secretary, the front office person, the telex operator, or even a matter of fact, the office boy, should know what the industry was all about. I still remember him teaching me geography, trade
Wow.
routes, shipping routes, booking, BL, DO, the difference between a shipping bill and a bill of entry, etc. Initially, I was very apprehensive as I thought he was being very overbearing and forcing us to learn something that we didn't really want it at that time.
That's right. Yeah.
But he used to get so annoyed. So it was just like, okay, just to please him, let's do it. When I look back, I feel we owe it to him to have made our careers in shipping and logistics. I'm glad to have joined the supply chain industry as it has grown over the years and it continues since the supply chain network will never sleep.
That's right. Sure. That's very interesting. Sometimes learnings come in disguise, and those are some of the best decisions you ever make in life.
Yes.
So, like you said, you started as an executive and you have risen through the ranks to hold some key positions in the leadership roles. So, can you please share with us how was your journey like, and what are some of the key learnings that you've made in your journey?
Yes, as I mentioned in my previous answer, my first boss got me very intrigued into shipping and logistics. So if I continue to be a secretary, I didn't see myself growing. So I decided I need to move on. So when APL had an opening for a customer service, I decided to take this chance in my career if I wanted to achieve my goals. I joined APL in the late 80s as a customer service executive. APL was the first organization to have computers and networking systems.
Wow.
It's really true.
Yes.
So APL was not just learning how to interact with customers, but it opened up a world of opportunity of learning. I must say, thanks to APL, as my first computer I worked on was an Apple Macintosh. Today it's a
Wow.
much sought after, the Apple Mac. I learned how to interact with customers, made bookings manually because everything was manual in those days, interacted with overseas offices through telex. Then came the email and internet and Microsoft Office age, which made communication much easier and faster. But we still had to learn how to communicate on email and internet or even Microsoft Office because everything was new for everybody, not just for me.
Right.
Customer service team would manually write booking confirmations for customers. And there was a lot of liaisons between the sales, operations, and customer service teams. I would like to say it was fun time, Shivaranjani, because
Yes.
today we don't have that much of fun while working.
Yes.
But it also had its hardship because communication was very, very difficult as we had only landlines. There was no mobiles in those days.
Correct.
So the ops and sales guys were given pagers. So if we wanted to get in touch with an ops guy or a sales guy to find out anything to do with the rate or to do with the containers or to do with the loading on board, we needed to page them. And they would then run to some payphone to return our calls. In the 80s, logistics was not heard of. So APL, to meet the needs of their buyers, started a consolidation division called American Consolidation Service. ACS was responsible for monitoring the movement of goods to consolidation points and managing consolidation of goods and shipping according to the specifications of their buyers. That time, warehousing and CFSs were very limited or not even heard of. This was a primitive form of logistics. I was approached by my manager to take care of ACS as well. It was in ACS I first learned about an FCR. Post the merger of NOL with APL, I moved to a leadership position and I started with just 4 employees in Chennai and they added additional responsibilities about just managing 4 of them. They gave me to handle special commodities of reefers and dangerous goods. APL was the first to launch the online services in the late 90s. First came the tracking of shipments, which didn't have much info. It just had info of when your ship sailed from Chennai and when your cargo is arriving at destination. In the early 2000s, we started booking online. Subsequently, 2006, my role got larger and I started heading the customer support team for the whole of South and East India with APL. The customer support locations were handling many functions like booking, BL preparation, tracking, many other also. Then came the transition of many functions being centralized into one location. My customer service team in Chennai was then given to handle the entire booking process for the whole of Southeast India. Post centralization came the concept of moving many functions to a back office. So I had the opportunity to share my knowledge on booking and to train the back office, which was then located in Malaysia, for the India booking process. In 2015, CMA purchased APL, which everybody knows, and I was selected as train the trainer for South India and Sri Lanka on CMA systems called LARA. During my early days, there were very few women in the industry and growth was slow for the fairer sex, as males were always given the opportunity over us. The last 3 decades gave me an opportunity of learning and growing my career and network. Most of my mentors were women leaders in the industry. I should say I was fortunate enough to have good managers in APL and in CMA, and I worked alongside some of the very best sales managers, documentation and operational heads in India and overseas. Another point for women, I was fortunate enough to start a family late, so I was able to make the best of learning opportunities that were made available and to focus on my career, and I had a very good husband who allowed me to focus on my career.
Yes.
Coming to the last part of your question, the key to anything is staying focused on your goals, adapt to the changing environment, because as what I've told you from the beginning is it was a complete change to where we are today, and make the best of any opportunity which comes your way.
Sure. I can only imagine how it must have been back in the days when you had only telephones
Yes,
and landlines, and here we are fully connected, and yet we are seeing IoT to be the future for our industry.
Yes.
And also, Linda, taking some leave from your answers, wherein you mentioned, back in the 80s, logistics was not an industry that was much heard of, and very few women were in the industry. If I had to ask you, what would you tell women some of the best things that the industry has to offer if you have to inspire more of them to join?
Really?
Yes.
As I said, during my early days, women in the workforce was very limited and handful, where leadership roles least in supply chain. When it comes to accomplishing goals or building a solid place in the workplace, relationships, feminine touch and the skill of empathy, intuition, and optimism of women go a long way. Adopt a passion for the job and be a person willing to help. Be willing to learn and not to be a pushover, because sometimes women try to be pushovers.
Right.
Learning never stops at college. As I said, I'm still learning. I'm still evolving. Never lower your standard or compromise your integrity. Remember, a pretty face or a pretty body will age, but a head full of knowledge will keep you on top of every situation. Never compare yourself to someone else.
Wow. I'm sure many of our students, female students especially, who will be watching this interview can take these key lessons, and once they are starting their profession, they can implement them. So now my next question is, your experience largely comes from the customer care or customer service field.
Yes.
Wherein I'm sure handling escalations must have been something you've done day in and day out.
Yes.
So I would like you to tell us or share with us what, in your opinion, are some of the key skill sets one must possess to handle such challenges in your professional life on a day-to-day basis, wherein you're not losing out the customer and you're saving the business. So you're also maintaining the relationship and saving the business.
Yes. Yes, Shivaranjani. My experience is largely in customer service, and problem solving is one of the key functions in customer service. Right. First, you need to build a strong working relationship with your customers and your colleagues. All customers are not easy. I'm sure you also must be knowing that.
Yes.
If you have an irate customer, ensure to be polite to them also. Never ever get angry with a customer. If you have, uh, provide solutions and negotiate with your customer in a manner which is befitting to both the organization and the customer. Never commit to something which you cannot deliver.
Right.
Be proactive with your customers. Always keep customers apprised of the situation, even if you haven't arrived at a resolution.
Right.
Never play the blame game. My ops team, my finance team, my documentation team did not perform. No, don't do that. Because you are representing the organization, not yourself. Building rapport with your other teams within your organization goes a long way in resolutions. As I said earlier, no one likes working with a pushover.
That's right. Sure. Yes, Linda. There were some of, I'm sure these are going to serve as some tips for obviously people who are now in the customer service, or even for that matter, sales, wherein a lot of relationship building with the customer happens. So, all these 10 points that you have mentioned, I'm sure that people are going to take that and try implementing to be successful. So, my last question to you, Linda, is over the years, with so much awareness about logistics and supply chain management that's happening, we are seeing more number of youngsters willing to join this industry. So, what would you like to tell the youngsters in terms of some of the key skill sets that they should possess, which helps them to launch a successful career in supply chain management and logistics?
Yes, Shivaranjani. Supply chain has evolved since I started my career. So our youngsters today should know more than just technical skills what they pick up in college. To get a head start on their jobs, it is better to do a professional course. Today, there are many business schools offering various professional courses. If I should say in logistics industry, I've heard from my son and from many others that BSLS is one of the upcoming institutions in logistics. It is important to develop their soft skills also. Constructive and good communication is the key in helping them in their growth. Adapting to the changing environment, otherwise they will be left behind. Accept criticism. Criticism comes in all forms, not just from your manager. Deal with a tough situation with a smile on your face. I think that's why I keep smiling.
Oh, that's the mantra for
Yes,
successful
and
customer
that,
service and a
yes,
salesperson.
yes. Great analytical skills in order to solve problems, strong interpersonal skills. To sum it up all, Shivaranjani, I say, you learn nothing in life if you think you're always right.
Oh, wow. What a beautiful way to put that up in one sentence. And Linda, it was such a pleasure to have you with us. A very sincere thanks on behalf of Business School of Logistics and Shipping, our entire team, for you to take out this time and spend your precious time with us and sharing your knowledge, also some key insights from your experience through the years. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shivaranjani, and it was a pleasure being a part of this session.